I still remember the way she walked toward my house that evening. Golden light behind her, the kind of glow that makes you forget how heavy your own life feels. She held that small food container like it was a gift meant to bring warmth into a place that had forgotten what warmth felt like. Her smile was soft, shy, almost innocent, until it flickered. Just a second. Just enough for me to see her glance at the doorway where my stepfather stood, pretending to be curious, pretending to be harmless. She trusted my family more than her own. But trust has a way of breaking before you even hear the sound. The truth is, I never planned to fall in love with her. She drifted into my world the way morning light sneaks through a cracked window. Quiet, gentle, unannounced. Her name became the one thing that could steady me. Her presence softened the noise I grew up drowning in. My house wasn't a home. It was a place where silence had weight, where every decision passed through my stepfather's hands, and every emotion froze before reaching my mother's face. She existed, but she didn't live, and I learned to survive instead of speak. Then she appeared, and suddenly the walls didn't feel as cold. She laughed easily. She smiled often. She filled the empty spaces with a kind of innocence my life had never been allowed to touch. She helped my mother cook, sat with her, asked about her day. She cleaned the kitchen like she belonged there. She greeted my stepfather with more respect than he ever deserved. She told me once, "Your house feels like a real family." I couldn't tell her the truth. I didn't want to stain the only good thing she felt here. At first, I thought I was imagining it. The way my stepfather's eyes lingered on her a little too long. The way his compliments slid into something too personal. She would smile politely, but her shoulders would tense. Her hand would find mine and hold on as if anchoring herself. She avoided sitting alone in the living room if he was there, always choosing the kitchen, always choosing distance. I told myself she was just shy. I told myself he was just strict. A lifetime of excuses makes it easy to create more. But the night she brought biryani, the air shifted. My mother praised the food. My stepfather praised her. And the way he stared made my chest tighten. When she followed my mother to the kitchen, he followed too quickly. I stood up, ready to step in, but then I stopped, convincing myself it was nothing. Then I saw it, his hand on her shoulder through the half-open door. Her entire body went still. The light in her face turned off, and I said nothing. Later, outside, she whispered, "Your stepfather, he makes me uncomfortable," and I failed her. I brushed it off. Told her she was imagining it. Told her he was harmless. The disappointment in her eyes felt like a quiet wound. Before she left, she said, "I want to feel safe here, but something feels wrong." She walked into the night. The light behind her flickered, and somewhere inside me I knew the storm had already begun. I saw her before she even called my name, standing under that single streetlight, shaking, soaked to the bone. Rain fell hard, but not as hard as whatever had broken inside her. Her arms wrapped around herself as if she was trying to hold her soul together. Mascara blurred down her cheeks. Her breath came thin, almost disappearing between the raindrops. When she lifted her eyes, I felt something inside me collapse. Pain shouldn't look that quiet. Hurt shouldn't look that small. I ran to her, desperate, confused, terrified. But when I reached out, she stepped back. She flinched, and that moment cut deeper than anything my stepfather had ever done to me. I took off my jacket, wrapped it around her shoulders, and guided her toward the shadowed side of the house. Anywhere far from the doorway she refused to look at. For a long time she didn't speak. She just stood there with rain dripping from her fingers, staring at the pavement like it was the only thing holding her up. Then, in a voice barely louder than a breath, she whispered, "Your stepfather tried to touch me." Everything inside me went still. The world didn't crash. It didn't scream. It just stopped. She kept talking, tears mixing with rain. She told me how he waited until my mother left. How he asked her to help with something in the hallway. How he grabbed her wrist, pulled her closer, said words no man should ever breathe toward someone her age. She pushed him away. She ran. She didn't even put on her shoes properly. She thought I wouldn't believe her. And the worst part, the part that still haunts me, is that for a split second, she was right. I hesitated. Not because I doubted her character, never that, but because I didn't want to believe the monster in my house had finally shown his full face. She saw that hesitation in my eyes, and something inside her broke again. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand myself. I stormed into the house with a rage I didn't know I had. My hands shook, my voice cracked, but my anger was louder than anything. I confronted him. He didn't deny it. He didn't apologize. He smirked like he enjoyed the chaos he created. He twisted her truth within seconds. She misunderstood. She was emotional. She was trying to ruin me. My mother stood in the middle, eyes full of fear but no courage. She didn't defend him, but she didn't defend her either. Her silence burned more than his lies. I yelled. He yelled. Doors slammed. A chair fell. The house became a place where every hidden truth finally clawed its way into the open. And she stood outside, watching everything I called home crumble into something unrecognizable. When I reached her, she didn't look at me the same. Her voice was drained, cracked, empty. I can't stay here. Not with him. Not with your family. Not in this house. And when she stepped away, the distance between us felt like an entire lifetime. Before leaving, she said, I trusted them. And that trust destroyed everything. She walked into the rain. And I knew. The next chapter wasn't about healing. It was about war. Morning came like an apology I didn't feel ready to accept. Soft light slipped through the cracked window, touching the floor where I sat with my back against the wall. I hadn't slept. I hadn't moved. My phone lay beside me, her last message still unopened, as if reading it would make the night real. There was a strange stillness inside me. Not peace, not clarity, just the quiet after something breaks. I stared at the empty doorway where she once walked in smiling. Now it felt like a grave. And in that silence, one truth echoed louder than anything my stepfather ever shouted. Her pain opened my eyes. And once you finally see what's been hurting you, you can never go back to pretending. The night she left, the house didn't feel like a house. It felt like the aftermath of a storm that hadn't stopped raging. My mother locked herself in her room, hiding behind years of fear. My stepfather walked around as if nothing had happened, as if tearing someone apart was just another day for him. But I couldn't breathe in that place. Not after hearing her voice tremble with the kind of fear no one should ever know. He tried to touch me, and you doubted me. Those words didn't leave bruises, they left scars. By sunrise, something inside me shifted. Shame has a way of turning boys into men. Fear has a way of turning silence into fire. I found him sitting in the kitchen, sipping tea like he owned the world. When he looked up, that smirk, the same one she described, pulled the last piece of restraint out of me. I grabbed his collar with hands that shook not from weakness but from finally choosing to stop running. You hurt her, I said, my voice breaking under the weight of it. You crossed a line you can never erase. My mother rushed in, crying, begging, apologizing with her eyes. But nothing she said could cover what spilled into the room next. For the first time, she admitted the truth. He did this before, she whispered. The air around us shattered. Years of denial cracked open. His mask fell off completely. That day became the beginning of the end. I gathered every story he had buried. Neighbors who had seen things. Relatives who suspected things. My mother who finally found the strength to speak. Piece by piece, the monster unraveled. And in front of the entire family, the truth crushed him. Yelling. Accusations. A silence so sharp it felt like glass. We threw him out. Not quietly, not respectfully, not the way he had treated us. For the first time, the house belonged to us. After it was over, I went to her. She opened the door slowly, eyes carrying storms and hope at the same time. I told her everything. The confrontation, the truth, the fall of the man who tried to break her. She didn't fall into my arms. She didn't forgive instantly. She simply said, "Thank you for finally seeing what I saw." And in that moment, healing began. Not with love, not with promises, but with two wounded souls choosing to walk forward together.